When I was a little kid and I would visit my grandmother in Illinois, I would often stay in the sewing room, and it was a small room, and the walls were pretty much covered with black and white pictures of my ancestors, who all died, obviously. And people don't smile often in black and white pictures, so it left a really kind of spooky effect on me. And for years afterwards, I would have these nightmares that would just be stills of black and white pictures where nothing else happened. And the idea behind this piece is sort of just an imagined history of those ancestors. I don't know most of their stories at all, but they came from Syria and Russia on ships. A lot of them died on ships, so there's kind of an ocean feeling that goes through the whole piece. There's like a foghorn sound and trying to imitate the sounds of muffled conversations coming from different rooms. So I initially realized this piece as an entirely graphic notation. No notes on staves or anything, it's just all shapes. And the way I approached doing this is I recorded myself performing the graphic notation, then transcribed my performance of the graphics for this ensemble. And so everything kind of supposed to sound like voices.
For a piece like Hannis's, usually there's some sort of audio sample that's available, and the ensemble, including myself, will usually listen to that to kind of get our first idea of what the composer has in mind for the piece. And then for me, the next step is usually to take the hard copy of the score and go through any logistical moments, or issues, such as, is there a click track? Is there an electronic track? Are there free time moments that, we'll need some negotiation once we get to rehearsal, and just kind of ironing those things out before our first rehearsal.
Because he gives us the program notes on what it's supposed to sound like, or the idea behind this piece, it gives me a better understanding of what sounds I want to make for these measures. And so there's a lot of singing simultaneously with the flute in unison to make it an amplified, ghostly kind of sound. And he uses that throughout the entire piece actually a lot. So that's a lot of fun to roll with. Yeah. He has this picture in the middle of the page of just a stormy ocean, and we just kind of figure out what we're going to interpret with that. So I get to do a lot of like ocean sounds, and it goes from soft to very loud and very intense, and a lot of breathing.
Because I initially realized this score by myself, and then wrote it in such a way that the instruments really have a lot of control over how they play a line. There's a lot of kind of like obsessing over a figure, and I've intentionally written them out as boxes with arrows, so you can't really count your way through the figure. You just kind of get lost in it while this other stuff is going on. So hearing it live, especially playing it, is definitely kind of a shock to my system. Living with it for a couple days will help me out. I specifically chose this group of instrumentalists because they have backgrounds in music outside of classical music, and they all know how to improvise, so that they would bring something, they would bring themselves to it, and also kind of instill this instability in the whole piece.